These are the pieces of shit that want to spend their whole day doing nothing. Doing nothing. They don't see that med student in the library studying 6 hours a day. That dental student, that engineering student, that accounting student. They don't see that collegiate athlete who goes out there and trains for 2 hours each day. That musician who practices their instrument for 1 hour each day. They don't see that. All they see is that doctor in their nice car. All they see is LeBron James on television, making 10, 20 million a year. Russell Wilson, Tom Brady on television, scoring touchdowns. And they get mad. And they get jealous. And they get envious. Because they're lazy, they're dumb, they have no talents, no abilities. Now, you're going to say, well, an athlete is born an athlete. Are you sure? I've been playing sports since 6 years old. I don't know any fucking athlete who came out their mother's womb and was able to perform. You earn that shit. The doctor earns that shit. The rock star, the R&B star, the hip-hop star, the movie star, they earn that shit. So this Green New Deal, this tax billionaires, this tax rich people, all of that are the lazy, loser motherfuckers who are mad when they see a person who's applied themselves now enjoying the fruits of their labor. There is no fucking reason I should walk out there in the street and see a doctor drive by in his $100,000 car. He makes $500,000 a year, so $100,000 for a car, that ain't shit. He'll hold it for 3-4 years. That ain't shit. And if he's smart, he'll make that a company car so he can depreciate it. That doctor earned that car. Steph Curry earned his position. Denzel Washington earned his position. So, Mr. Trump, I applaud you. I applaud you for reducing the tax burden on those people who have earned what they reap. Let the lazy motherfuckers who don't want to do shit, who don't want to apply themselves, who want to go through life pretending and hating on those who apply themselves, let them suffer. Let them suffer. Because through suffering, maybe, just maybe, they might realize that laziness gets you nowhere. But this nonsense of punishing successful Americans has to stop. Because those successful Americans are the reason the lazy, average Americans can wake up every day, go to a job, and get a salary. So I applaud you on that front. Now, for an entanglement, I think what you need to do, Mr. Trump, you're pretty honest and straightforward in other things. I think what you need to do is become straightforward on your notion of American isolationism. You need to. See, a lot of people don't understand, but the bulk of American foreign policy is designed for the benefit of American companies and American banks. The bulk of Pentagon spending, that's the U.S. defense budget, goes towards the defense contractors. You're talking about $600 billion a year. Because the operational budget for the U.S. military is about $200 billion, and it's been there at the same level since about Clinton's time. So all that extra money is going into the pockets of Lockheed Martin's, Martin Marietta's, General Dynamics. When we go to war, the banks lend the government money, and the government has to pay the banks back at interest. So war is very profitable to the banks. When we go to war, we create markets for American companies, whether it's consumer markets, whether it's the ability to extract resources, whether it's the ability to acquire utilities, mines, whatever, in foreign countries. That's what war gives us. So, foreign entanglements, Mr. Trump, and you are correct about this, do not benefit the average American. But your problem, Mr. Trump, is your message is not clear. When you come forth and you say, I do not want to commit troops to Syria, you need to say, this is a war between Saudi Arabia and Iran, Shia versus Sunni, over some stupid fucking shit. And it is all about Iran and Saudi Arabia want to control Islam. And so that's where Syria comes in. So you sit there and say, what do we have to benefit from being in Syria? We have nothing to gain. The Muslims don't like us. So why are we there? And you have to put it out there, Mr. Trump, that the only people that benefit are the people that manufacture the arms that are deployed and utilized, the arms that are sold to the Syrian rebels, the banks that finance those activities. And in this case, there are probably not many American companies besides those that are gonna benefit. But you put it out there. Because when you put it out there, Mr. Trump, when you come out and say, look, I am not going to put American lives at stake such that banks could make a profit. When you come out and say, I'm not going to put American lives at stake such that Lockheed Martin or Martin Marietta may sell some arms, then you have a valid point, Mr. Trump. But when you just come out there and say, I'm withdrawing all troops from Syria, then you look like a fool. You look like a fool. All these generals, all these senators who come in and say, oh, you're stupid. Then you say, okay. How much, Lindsey Graham, do you get from these defense contractors? How much, Lindsey Graham, do you get from these banks? Because that will shut them up. That will shut them up. You're correct, Mr. Trump. We need to focus on America. We need to focus on building America. Globalization has really not benefited America because the standard of living of America has gone down because of globalization. When people talk about the wealth gap, think about it. The wealthy are invested. The wealthy own property. The wealthy own companies. The wealthy own stocks in companies. When Cisco Systems, decide I'm going to take 30% of my work effort and send it to China, and overall, I've been recording about $5 billion in revenue each year with costs of $3 billion. So my net is $2 billion. But if I send this 30% of my workforce to China and 20% to India, then I reduce my costs from $3 billion to $1 billion. Off the same revenue, now I have doubled my profitability. Globalization enables that. When we, America, pull back and say, this is not to our benefit. Trade deals with Mexico, with Canada, are not to our benefit. Trade deals with China, or Japan, or Korea are not to our benefit. Trade deals with South America are not to our benefit. And when you come back there like you've been doing, Mr. Trump, and saying, we want trade deals that will benefit Americans, you're doing right. You're doing right. We get involved internationally when there's a clear benefit to America. Because Germany, Britain, France, Italy, Canada, Australia, China, Japan, Korea, none of those countries get embroiled in foreign entanglements unless it is going to benefit them. My message to you, Mr. Trump, your message is on point. The delivery is fucked up. The messenger is fucked up. I'm a black man. I'm a revolutionary black man. But I realize now, our problem as a race is not so much white people. We sold our own people into slavery. We owned our own people as slaves. We still hate on each other. We still discriminate against each other. Yes, black people discriminate against their own kind. Black people speak worse about other black people than white people speak about black people. That's a reality we as a black people are afraid to face. There's white devils, there's black devils, there's Asian devils, there's Latino devils. At the same time, there's white angels, black angels, Latino angels, Asian angels. As I said, Mr. Trump, you deserve to be impeached. You fucked up. That's the truth. But just because you're a fucked up individual does not mean that what comes out your mouth is fucked up. You're fighting. You're fighting a giant. And this giant is going to crush you. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. If you don't get impeached and kicked out, you're going to lose 2020. And when you lose 2020, they're probably going to lock you up. And they're going to lock you up for two reasons. Number one, you're a fucked up individual. I can't lie to you about that. You are a fucked up individual. But more importantly, you challenged the entrenched system like no one before you has ever done. You challenged the entrenched system and you scared the fucking shit out of them. You really did. They have never, because remember, you are not the anointed one. You are not the anointed one. Obama was anointed. Bush Jr. was anointed. Clinton was anointed. Kennedy, you go all the way back. You were not the anointed one. And that fucking bothered them. Personally, I believe Putin has you in his pocket. I think you're Putin's bitch. Just being straight up. But I do applaud you for challenging the status quo. I like to see your philosophies, your ideologies put into place. I'd like to see a wall across the southern border and the northern border. I'd like to see a change in immigration policy, including refugees. I'd like to see a change in how the U.S. gets entangled in foreign affairs, some of which we don't have no fucking business being there. I'd like to see the productive people of this world rewarded, of this country rewarded. Tax cuts was one way. Capital gains, dividends, passive income, cut those taxes. Let those of us who apply ourselves maximize our reward. And let the lazy motherfuckers, let them suffer. Because those are the fake motherfuckers, those are pretentious motherfuckers, those are the motherfuckers that will stand in the way of someone who is trying to build something. So let them suffer. To the Republican Party, in a way, I'm a conservative. I don't like huge government. I like and believe in free enterprise. I believe in regulation to the extent that it protects the citizen and the consumer from business. I don't believe in zero regulation, but we need regulation to protect the consumer, and we need to strengthen trade unions to protect the employee. We black people have been fooled by the liberals. We've been fooled. We've been told we're dumb little pieces of shit who need a white man to tell us how to think, who need a white man to save us to give us a job. We've been told we can't start our own companies. We've been told when we earn money, what we should do is not buy a house, but go buy an expensive car and park it outside an apartment building. We've been told, go get a government job instead of starting your own company. You hear about Facebook and Google and all these black people complaining, oh, they're not hiring any black people. These are technology companies, motherfucker. Are you a programmer? Are you a developer? Are you a network engineer? Are you a database administrator? I've been in corporate America. You don't see black people in those positions. So is it a wonder that a technology company which focuses on delivery of technology products does not hire many black people, given that most black people do not focus on technology or engineering? Is it a wonder? We've been fooled as a people. And I think this is where the Republican Party would help black people, would promote self-sufficiency, responsibility, accountability. Not you go out there and have 20 baby mamas and you can't take care of them. That's irresponsibility. Now that you spend all your day chasing pussy and you can't get a college education, you can't get a decent job, that's irresponsibility. Now that you have kids and spend your 20, 30 years living in an apartment and then you leave those kids nothing, they have to pay for your grave, for your funeral, that's irresponsibility. And these are things, these are conservative values that could help black people rise up. Mexicans in LA, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, they start their own businesses and they succeed. Black people, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. But the problem is, you are racists. You are racists. I urge you, Republican Party, drop the racist mentality. If you drop that racist mentality right now and you make it clear to black people you've dropped it, you probably get 25% of the black vote in 2020. The Democrats do not have a monopoly on black people. There are other black people out there like me who are not Uncle Toms, who are not Oreos, but who can think for themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long video. I thank you for tuning in and watching. And if I don't talk to you again, God bless. Merry Christmas, it's past due. And Happy New Year, and let's make 2020 a beautiful experience. Thank you.